what's up everyone? This is Ben Zinn for nextlevelguitar.com. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have an inspired by a lesson on some funk classics. Godfather of Soul, one of the best, and we're going to take a look at that style, how we can just kind of inject a little bit of groove into our playing and have some fun with it. So let's check it out. Hey everyone, if you would like a free video lesson and a coinciding ebook that is not available on YouTube, I want you to take a look at the link down below. Click on the link in the YouTube text box. What happens if you do that? Well, we're going to send you that free video lesson, that free coinciding ebook with all kinds of chord diagrams, good stuff that you need in your everyday playing, and we're going to send that to you all for free from nextlevelguitar.com. Click on that link and we'll continue on. Okay, so I was inspired by listening to an old school funk track and just taking some of the basic ideas and trying to adapt them into my own playing. And I drew inspiration from all over the place, from the guitar players, but also from the groove that was laid down by the bass and drummer. So we're going to show you two parts today. One, how to kind of get that nice little groove flowing, and then two, how to vibe out on your own by doing some improvising with some different chord shapes and some different rhythms with our rhythm guitar. So to start out, let's take a look at how we can establish a nice little bass and drum kind of groove on our guitar here. What I did in the intro was I was playing just a two-note little bass line here, and then I was following that up with a little chord hit, and I was creating a nice little rhythm pattern or groove based on those things. I'm using my thumb and my first finger to add a little bit of funk to it. You can certainly still do this with the pick if you're more comfortable that way, but I find it adds a little bit of that funk flavor to it if you use your thumb and first finger, because I'm able to add a little bit of this ghosted note before, much like a bass player would. So that little pop right before the two notes really makes a big difference for my ears. Now, once I establish that, I'm coming up and I'm sort of rolling my ring finger across to grab this little minor chord up here up top. So it's like a quick roll, and then I come back and grab the root note of my key. So once you sort of catch on to that groove, we're just playing a couple of bass notes, the 4th fret and 6th fret note, and then I'm just creating a backbeat by hitting that chord on the higher end. Once you have that, you know, you're off and running. You can sort of do whatever you want within it. As long as it's funky, you can play really any sort of fill or rhythmic variation that you want to. But it all sort of starts with that. So you can see I can start going some other places with it and changing it up. One thing I want to mention too about fretting that chord is a lot of times we can get a somewhat funkier sound by not depressing all the way on the chord. So there's a difference between going, you know, and letting that chord ring out, and then maybe just hitting that percussive sound. We're living somewhere in the middle of that when we hit that chord. That's kind of how you get that tone. Very quick, very staccato, and we just barely hear those notes. That's kind of the most effective way to get this groove happening. You know, and you can start doing all this fun stuff with your bass line, but the foundation is always just ba-da, and that's it. All of our examples today are going to be based on B flat minor or B flat Dorian. So the chords, the grooves, everything that I'm going to do today is going to come out of that sort of tonality. So here's a scale for reference of B flat Dorian. So now, inspired by the great guitar players of all these funk bands from 60s, 70s, and on, you know, there's a lot you can do with just simple little chord voicings on the higher strings and improvising with some rhythm. This is a lot of fun. In funk music, a lot of times we're just vamping on the same basic chord. We may be playing some fancier sounding chords like 9ths, 11ths, 13ths, but we're not moving through chord changes. so we can create some interesting sounds by just changing up a couple of notes or adding some different rhythms into our playing. All of these chords that we're going to talk about are going to be basically B-flat minor chords, but we're just going to try to be creative and be inspired to play them as many different ways as we can. That's kind of what this is all about. So home bass is kind of thinking about this chord here, or its 3-string counterpart right here. And if I start playing a rhythm like this, where I'm sort of accenting every 3rd note on my strum, that's going to get me going, right? So what I'm doing there is just going back and forth, depressing on the chord, and then relaxing to get that percussive sound. So we're going to be going every 3rd. And then to make sure that we're still counting that out at 4 beats, we do every 2nd one at the end of our pattern. Good pattern to try to get down for any kind of funk playing. Once we have that established, now here comes the fun part, because we can start changing some notes within the chord here. We get this minor 6 or minor 13. Again, the chords sound fancy, but what are we doing here? We're just playing a couple of different notes here. So I might play And you'll notice too, as I get comfortable with that strumming motion, I may not hit all those little percussive things. I might kind of ghost or hint at some of those rhythms. So I'll leave some of that space in there to create a different variation on my pattern. So we can play something like this, a minor 9 chord. Again, it's just a few notes. And we're just changing these things up within the context of our rhythm. These things can be found all the way up the neck. All built from, like I said that earlier, that B flat Dorian scale. So if you take a look and really map out where all those notes live in that scale everywhere on your fretboard, which I'll mention, you know, our website, nextlevelguitar.com, is a great resource for that. We have scale diagrams, we have written lessons, all of that stuff to help you map this out. That's where I'm building all of these chords from. I'm just putting these things together in different ways and different combinations. And since it's just a stagnant groove, we're just on B flat minor the whole time, and we're just having fun playing some funky rhythms. It's really up to you. You can be creative and have fun with it. So you can take some of these things now and then play them over the top of that groove and just move them around and see what you like. Okay, everyone, so that brings us to a close for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you guys were able to take something out of this lesson and just take what you need. That's the main thing with these Inspired By lessons. Find something that appeals to you and just try to integrate it into your own playing. That's the vibe that we're after here. So thanks so much for joining us. Head over to the website, nextlevelguitar.com. It's a great resource for players of all styles and skill levels. We're adding new content all the time. We're up to over 1,450 video lessons. So check that out. No matter what you're into, you're going to find something that's going to help your playing over there. nextlevelguitar.com. Thanks again so much, and I'll see you next time.